Cool. We have a very short agenda today, to be honest. We only have two things. We don't have any policy items, so we can skip that. I'll go ahead and put the link to the agenda into the chat, but really it's just endorsements for a big L slate of races and elections, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the California 12 mixer event that we're trying to put together for later this month. And so hopefully shouldn't take the whole meeting, but yeah. So we'll go ahead and I'll explain sort of what we're doing here with the ballot because there are so many races. We do have the very honorable presence of one of the candidates running, who is up for endorsement vote tonight. Sasha is here with us, and usually how we do this is candidates are welcome to come to this meeting. They're not required to, and if they do come to this meeting, we like to give them some time just to say anything that they want to say. If they want to answer any questions, we're happy to have them answer questions. And then once we actually get into debate / discussion / voting time, then we'll kindly but firmly ask all candidates to leave the Zoom room for privacy and confidentiality concerns. Does anyone have any questions with process? Cool. Okay. Yeah, okay, sounds good, Beacon. I will, oh, Victor, okay, just no Megan, just Victor, I guess. Yeah, I will happy to let you do that. Sasha is here, so I want to give the floor over to Sasha. Sasha, feel free to say anything you would like to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, I really want to thank everybody for even considering me for an endorsement process. I'm really excited to be here for many reasons. And one of them is that I got to interact with a couple of you in several occasions. And that has been very fabulous, just seeing the work that you all are doing, that you are the way that you're contributing to the community is very uplifting. But again, my name is Sasha Ritzi Hernandez. I was born in Mexico. I'm from the South part of Mexico. I'm Afro-Indigenous, and I moved to Oakland when I was 12 years old. So naturally, I became my parents' advocate and interpreter as a result of my experience just moving to a new country, learning a new language, and just experiencing new things. Over the years, I've done some work around policy, particularly around reparations of Black students, the sanctuary city, and ensuring that our students are loved, they're appreciated, they're seen in those spaces. One of the challenges that I see now and is happening across the country is the impact that we've seen on LGBTQ plus youth, and that is something that the board has not moved anything forward in. And I want to ensure that if I become part of this board, that I will push for policies that really protect our students, whether you're undocumented or part of the LGBTQ community. I want students to see someone in the board where they can feel a level of support that doesn't currently exist. Like I said, I'm a product of OUSD schools. I graduated from Oakland. Well, I went to Oakland High. I went to Roosevelt Middle School, graduated from Latine Community College here in Oakland, and then I attended Holy Names University, where I was working on my master's degree before our school closed. So I am very, one of the main reasons why I'm running is because I'm really against school closures. And I know it's quite difficult when we are talking about financial challenges, but I want to make sure that if we do have to make really difficult decisions, that the community is a part of it. That is the platform that I'm running on. There's no one in the board right now that has a specialty on community engagement and family engagement. So I feel like that is something really important to bring to the table, because there has not been impact analysis around school closures and many other things that have deeply impacted our community. And so I want to make sure that I am not just in the back end now of empowering families to fight for quality education, but I'm actually that I'm the person that is supporting them in making those decisions. And yeah, that is a little bit about me. And thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited. I was hoping that it would be in person because I wanted to see all your beautiful faces, but Zoom will do for now. And by the way, I know Alyssa Victor is not here. She was the awardee of Kick-Ass Youth Award last year, if I'm not mistaken. And I have her endorsement, and she wish she could be here. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sasha. Anybody have any questions for Sasha? Going once, going twice. Cool. All right. Sounds good. Sasha, thank you for being here. I don't think we need to kick you out yet, just because, Victor's going to be doing a little something something for Marisol Rubio. But afterwards, when we go into debate and discussion, then we might ask you to leave the room. Cool. Victor, I don't see Marisol here, so feel free to take the floor.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is Victor Flores. I am speaking on behalf of Councilmember Marisol Rubio today, who is on the San Ramon City Council. Marisol has a science and biology background due to the fact that, one, she was a single mother who had to take care of a child that suffered from brain cancer. She is an in-home health worker as a primary caregiver of her child, which means that she is also an SEIU 2015 member. She and I have actually worked together in Contra Costa Just Transitions and green economy work. So I know for a fact, she is not only committed to the environment, but puts in the work to do it and cross-collaborate with environmental organizations, labor, Democrats, Sierra Club. Not an easy coalition to always get on board, but she's been able to bring everybody together. And she's somebody who I've known for the last few years. She's a progressive. She's got, most of labor's support through the last run when she ran against Steve Glazer. She won her city council race in the last cycle with 64% of the vote. And I know that as someone who has worked to expand the voting age to 17, at the CDP level, she is somebody who will stand up for young Democrats. I know that she's also a champion for housing affordability and education. So I'm happy to be able to speak on her behalf, and I hope that you'll consider supporting her and having a progressive champion in this seat that is, more conservative. Her opponents are more conservative. If you look at the Courage scorecard, the scores at Courage California said that her opponent is in the pockets of special interest, someone who has not voted for women's rights, somebody who has, when there are easy democratic values aligned bills that he should not be walking out on, he does not stand up and take a vote, and she will. So I humbly ask for your support for Marisol Rubio tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Victor. Any questions for Victor on behalf of Marisol? Going once, going twice. Cool. Well, thank you, Victor, for speaking on behalf of Marisol. I'm sure she would be very happy to hear all of your nice words. We have somebody who just came in. Cool. Nora, thanks for joining us. All right. So in that case, I think we're ready to move on to sending out ballots and stuff. So Sasha, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for speaking with us, to talking to us, taking some time out of your schedule for us. And we will let you know what the endorsement results are once we get them, which should be happening in the next couple of days.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sasha. Cool. I don't know if can somebody remind me if we actually do discussion or debate, or do we just send the ballots?
It's optional.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's optional.
Okay. Well, the space is here if anybody wants to say anything, but otherwise, I will go ahead and take a look at the registrants for this meeting. I know Caleb is helping me with validating who's an eligible member, who's not an eligible member. Just as a reminder, to be an eligible member, you have to be between the ages of 14 to 35 inclusive. You have to have paid your dues. You have to have attended at least one EBYD meeting or event of some sort between 21 days prior and 364 days prior. And then, of course, you have to be present at this meeting tonight. If you meet all 4 of those requirements, congratulations, you are eligible for a ballot tonight for our endorsements. On our ballot, I'll try and keep this as short as possible, but just to recap what's going to be on our ballot, it's a bunch of federal and statewide elections. The Candidate Endorsements Committee, which is a subcommittee of this PPAC group made up of members of this club who are interested in dedicating time and work into putting together our endorsements for this cycle. We decided to prioritize federal and statewide endorsements prior to this year's convention in November, just due to timeline and capacity issues. A couple of those races we have already done endorsements for, so things like State Senate District 7, we had a separate process for that back in August when we had an event for that election and invited those candidates. Then we had a vote afterwards. If anybody missed it, the results of that endorsement process was no endorsement. No candidate reached the 60% threshold required by our bylaws in order to get our endorsement. We also will not have California District 12 Congressional on this ballot. We are also hosting a separate endorsement process for that to be discussed later tonight. We are having an event, I believe actually next Thursday, September 21st at Fluid 510 from 5:30 to 7:30. We're really excited about it. We invited all the candidates, all the Democratic candidates, to join us for this mixer style event. It will be more casual, more chill, and then we'll have voting after that event. Caleb, I don't want to like interrupt your work if you're still working on validating.
One second, I think we have a validated list.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's nobody else I have questions about.
Okay, cool. And before I forget, by the way, I just wanted to shout out, I meant to do this earlier, but I want to shout out Dejan, and I believe we had George, but George may have left. It's always good to see, and Adina, it's always good to see new folks come to our club and be here. And we hope, obviously, you stay here for more meetings and more events, and we get to see you more. But always want to give a shout out to those folks. I think most of the folks here I know have meet all the requirements. So I think we're just trying to get figured out on balloting situation. Otherwise, should we just open up the floor if anybody has any discussion or debate? Caleb, go for it.
Sure, if it's okay, I'd love to make the pitch for the other OUSD school board candidate.
Go for it.
Thank you. I'm supporting Jorge Lerma, the other candidate for this OUSD school board seat. I think that right now we're in a really critical space for the future of Oakland Unified School District's finances, which is why I think that we need to have a really strong voice who's going to be able to help get a better grip on the district's financial situation, especially because the board has in the past sometimes made some hasty decisions without really going through a careful analytical process. And I think that Jorge Lerma, who's a former principal, still sometimes serves as a principal, and has experience with several oversight commissions, would be a really good choice to make sure that the district stays on a good financial keel. And I also appreciate that he is frank in that there's going to be some very difficult trade-offs that need to be made to keep the district in solvent financial shape so it can deliver a quality education for its students. And I was grateful for the opportunity to chat with the other candidate at one of our recent happy hours, but that level of comfort in making difficult trade-offs did not seem to be there, which is why I don't think I would be comfortable supporting her. So I just wanted to share how I'm going to be voting in this race and a little bit of the thinking behind it, but I can certainly understand why some folks may agree to disagree.
Thanks, Caleb. Does anybody else want to say anything, have any questions or anything about the ballot, about any of the races that we're going to be voting on today? And maybe I should mention, voting will end tonight at 11:59 p.m. We usually try to do this pretty quick. Nora, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, maybe I didn't even make it the presentation today, but Caleb, do you have any more insight on the policy positions of Jorge Lerma? Like what I see on his answer sheet, he says like eliminate standardized testing, expand preschool, like are those like what's the plan for the funding for a full-scale overhaul of a lot of the things there just in those policies? Well, I mean, yeah, maybe expanding preschool isn't that expensive, but I don't think that would be cheap either.
Sure. I mean, I assume that both candidates are putting out a lot of aspirational policies. I think that the real hot button issue in this race is probably school closures. I know that Sasha has categorically ruled them out. Jorge hasn't. I don't like school closures any more than the next person, but I think that a fiscally responsible candidate needs to look at all the options on the table and trade them off against each other before making commitments, because I know the school has a very high number of schools for the number of students that it has. And I know it's a tricky issue. I'm a former USD student myself, but I think that it's important that there be some careful process before major financial decisions are made.
If I can pop in as well. Yeah, I think like that's up. I definitely agree with you that like and candidates' attitude to school closures is kind of probably in most OUS in Oaklanders' minds probably the most important issue for any school board candidate. The one thing that I think maybe that I came out like that Ritzy Hernandez like seemed a little bit more stronger in was like she pointed out rightly so that the last rounds of cuts came with very, very poor analysis in support thereof. And like that's not, and like frankly, the financial performance of the last round of cuts the one round of cuts that immediately preceded this one is still like in the air and doesn't seem to have quite worked out to be a net saver for the district. And so like I am quite suspicious generally of like because there's a lobbying effort on the part of charter schools to take a more aggressive position towards citing of normal non-charter public school campuses. And so I do think there is a bit of a balancing act to be done there. It's like, on the one hand, a lot of these people do hide behind finances, which they make to be more ironclad than actually are, right? So I think there is, like, I hear where you're coming from, Caleb, and I appreciate that. I don't think I'll be coming from the same direction, mostly because of that history. And it is one vote on the board, right? And for my mind, in a true financial exigency, I've seen board members who made stronger promises flip before. So I'm not necessarily sure if like that thing, like if there was no other information, I think I'd be with you. But because I see that emphasis on analysis and that emphasis on the accuracy of financial projections from that candidate, I think I'd be comfortable going in that direction. Yeah, but obviously, like, I agree with you, Caleb. Reasonable people can come to different conclusions.
Or is that an old hand or a new hand?
Sorry, I didn't lower it.
No worries, you're good. Olivia, I know I did see your hand up. Did you still want to say something? No pressure.
It popped up briefly because I was thinking about the issue of school closures as we were kind of discussing them. But I don't know like the particular financial history of OUSD or kind of how they've handled school closures in the past. But I would definitely be curious to see how people kind of go about analyzing what schools are worthy. I don't know. I know worthy seems like a weird word, but like which schools should be closed versus others. I know in my own personal history of dealing with school closures and seeing them happen, it's often been low income schools that are typically underfunded in the first place that are handed off to charter schools. And you know, I don't know how either candidate would really handle that situation, but just I was just kind of generally thinking about or wanting to comment on how school closures have been handled in the past and how they would be handled in the future by either candidate, but I don't know if anyone can really speak to that.
My understanding is that both candidates said that they don't want more charter schools to open in Oakland, which I personally think is pretty obvious, common sense. It's a good way of thinking about it, though, Olivia. I think that it's very fair that there's a lot of concerns, and the devil is in the detail about all this.
Yeah, and I think to the extent that we can look historically, I think you're absolutely right. School closures have been concentrated into Flatlands in the past. Part of it is because there's this perception, rightly or wrongly, that parents in the hills have more choices. But partly it is reinforcing pre-existing and unjust power dynamics. And my personal belief is that one of those candidates is better at has a better record of like integrating those awareness of that history into analysis. And given that she came out in blanket opposition, I think if she were to ever flip that vote, there would be more pressure on her to hold that equitable analysis line. At which point it really becomes a question of, was there time to do anything close to that analysis? And historically, there has not been. The charter lobby does have a very strong Sacramento presence. Not as strong as it used to be, but very powerful.
Cool. Any other thoughts or comments about OUSD District 5 or any other race or the ballot? No, or go for it.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. One is, so uh, is the candidate deadline finished for any of these?
Filing deadline has passed, I believe, in this race, because
So,
it's a special election.
no, not in the school board, in a lot of these other races. The assembly races, state senate.
I don't believe that they have for all of them. We're just doing this timeline right now because convention is up in November, and we wanted to have some of our more major or important priorities up in front before then. And everything got shifted up by like 3 or 4 months because the primary is now in March instead of June.
Yeah, I just don't necessarily feel comfortable with making. I mean, I like my state assembly member, but I don't really know about making endorsements for potentially competitive elections that don't have a competitor.
Yeah, and we are right now just focusing on federal and statewide races. So anything that's countywide, regional, or municipal, we've decided as a group to focus the attention on that closer to next year after the convention.
But the state senate and assembly are part of this.
Yes. Those are statewide offices.
Yeah, I don't know too much about I guess there's only one of these that has more than one candidate. That I don't know too much about the race, but I just looking at the candidate statements, I do appreciate Rhodesia Ransom's her commitment to housing and calling out NIMBYs, and I think I worked for her a little bit just to in the 2018 canvassing season, going out to Tracy, and yeah, I don't know if I know enough about it to make a strong endorsement, but I just want to call that out.
Thanks so much. I'm happy to weigh in on Senate District 5 since that is my new Senate district now. I'm no longer in Glazer's district. I got him for all of the bad years, and then as soon as we changed the guard, then I got redistricted. But on Senate District 5, there are 3 Democratic candidates. There's, as Nora, you said, there's Rhodesia. She's a former city council member for the city of Tracy. Or I should say to anybody who's unfamiliar with the district, this district used to be Sacramento County, Stanislaus County, and San Joaquin County. It has shifted west after redistricting, so it's now San Joaquin County and Eastern Alameda County. It no longer has Sacramento County or Stanislaus. Rhodesia Ransom's a former city council member for the city of Tracy. She then ran for San Joaquin County Supervisor, I believe in 2020. It was a really, really close race. It came down to like literally 1%, like 800 votes or something. But she lost that race. And then there's Edith Villapudua, who is a very nice person. I've met her a few times, but she has no prior political experience, and she'd be the first person to tell you she has no prior political experience. She is the spouse of Carlos Villapudua, who is the assembly member for San Joaquin County currently in the state legislature. And then there is Miguel Villapudua, who's third candidate. He is related to Edith and Carlos. He is Carlos's cousin, and thus, I guess, Edith's cousin-in-law. I don't know if that's a thing. But he is a current supervisor in San Joaquin County, so he's the third candidate. I have my own personal opinions on the three candidates, but I too, without saying too much, would strongly lean towards Rhodesia. She's very qualified. She's a very nice person. She cares a lot. And as somebody who lives in Tri-Valley, it's very refreshing to see her take the Tri-Valley vote seriously. Vegan, go for it.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words about Rhodesia as well. Rhodesia is also in leadership at the CDP Black Caucus. She helped lead the transition from the previous board. That was a lot more old guard, less transparent. There were a lot of issues with the old board, and she has helped transition them into what I think is a far more modernized and better functioning, and I think open board. And on top of that, yeah, I think you already mentioned how she has been more pro-housing in Tracy. I've talked to her a little bit about that, and I think she would be somebody that we can count on for housing, for environmental issues. She's worked with youth. She's worked in the justice for justice impacted youth, and definitely has been a proponent of career technical education. Yeah, and I think it's like I'm never gonna put anyone down for shooting their shot, but I think that for somebody to run for a state senate without any kind of qualifying experience in a district that is disproportionately working class, super commuter, people of color, I think the constituents in that district deserve far better than that.
Thank you very much. I have pretty much all the emails loaded into OpaVote. Adina, did you age out by any chance, or are you still an eligible member?
I'm still eligible.
Okay, cool. And you were at the Senate District 7 event, so you were at a meeting or event. Cool. Let me go ahead and add your email there. I'm going to direct this to Dejan and Noor. Do the two of you meet the 4 requirements on the age, the eligibility, the dues paying, and all of that?
I just
Sorry,
joined a couple months ago and paid the dues, and I'm 30.
Yeah. You're good.
This is my first event for me, so I wouldn't meet that requirement.
Okay, no worries. We're still very glad to have you here and hope you come to more meetings. But yes, that would make you ineligible for voting for this meeting today. James, I see you. I know you are eligible. Caleb, did you say Nora was eligible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on everyone coming into the meeting and checking their status.
Cool. Thanks. I'm going to go ahead and send it out, and then as more people, if anybody else comes into the meeting, I think I can always send more. OpaVote's asking me for a credit card. I'll be right back.
See, Richard, aren't you so glad I didn't make you take me out to dinner so now you can afford OpaVote?
Yeah, $20 was really going to bankrupt me, James. Thank you.
I am at least a $50 per person meal person.
Okay,
so please,
okay,
thank you.
James. No.
She's fancy.
And that's probably not even ordering alcohol because it makes me allergic.
Jason, I'll message it to you separately. All right, I just sent it. I just sent out the first wave of the ballots. Folks, feel free to check your emails to see if you got it. If you don't see it, it might be in your spam. I think last time I got it in my spam for State Senate District 7. So check there if you don't see it. And then if you genuinely don't see it, like it's not in your spam, it's not anywhere, then, and you think you're an eligible member, then let me know.
And so is it that for all of these, there has to be 60% for a specific candidate with no endorsement also counting towards the denominator?
Yes, good question. So yes, it is per our bylaws, a candidate has to get 60% of the vote to have our endorsement. Abstain does not count towards the total vote count, but no endorsement does count towards the vote count. And that process should be detailed in the ballot that I just sent out. I tried to make the instructions clear. And again, reminder, y'all have until 11:59 p.m. to vote, but we have this meeting just in case anybody has questions or technical issues or whatever that they want to talk about.
Richard, I'm so sorry, but did we get to like talk negative and positive stuff about the candidates already?
You you missed it. We did talk for like 30 minutes. I don't think, I mean, do we usually end that when ballots go out, or can we keep talking? I can't remember what protocol is.
In most places,
Call.
yeah, in most places it's two in favor of either side, and then one or two rebuttals. So it really is up to the call of the chair.
And I don't think we set that in the beginning, but that is typically what I also follow when I'm chairing meetings.
Adina, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not like campaigning in a polling a polling place.
It's like OG campaigning where you can't, or OG voting before the secret ballot. People could call you out for your votes.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we needed to be as rigid as 2 for, 2 against Robert's rules. This is a small group. It's a pretty informal setting. I feel like just an open floor is how I've usually done it, and I feel like that's fine. Caleb, were you going to say something? Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that, Megan. I don't think time will be an issue tonight. All right. As folks are voting, continue to let me know if there are any tech issues, if you're not seeing your ballot in your email inbox, whatever. But let's move on to our only other agenda item for tonight, which is California 12. I previewed this earlier in the meeting, but for folks who don't know, we have an event next Thursday, September 21st. It is at Fluid 510 in Oakland. Which is the same location where we held our Senate District 7 event last month. It'll be from 5:30 to 7:30, although I'm sure maybe if the venue allows, we may probably go over, people will linger around. We have invited all the Democratic candidates and their campaigns to participate. and it'll be a mixer style event. So it'll be less rigid than the State Senate District 7 event, which was a forum and debate format. This will just be a mixer to give folks an opportunity to mingle with the candidates, talk with the candidates, have those personal one-on-one conversations and whatever not. And so it'll be a much more chill format. We will have the candidates or their campaigns speak for a little bit in the middle of the event just to introduce themselves, but otherwise it should be pretty free-flowing. I wanted to see if there was anything that we still need to handle. I feel like we've got a pretty good grasp on this. There's not as much responsibilities needed for this one compared to SD7 because that one was much more structured. But are there any final like logistical, technical, whatever it might be, kinks that we want to figure out? I see Caleb and then I see James.
First question I have is for the voting for the forum, do we want to do it via open vote or do we want to do it via paper ballot?
I'll open it up to the floor. Does anyone have any strong opinions on this?
I love paper ballots and I love counting paper ballots. And just so you know, we do keep those for a year. So whoever's in charge, you do need to keep those paper ballots for a year.
Can you repeat the question?
Should we vote via paper ballots or open vote?
For which race?
The congressional race, the forum?
Opa vote. I mean,
Jason?
I also would like to say OPA vote because we can figure out the result immediately after that set period of time of voting. And also, you know, OPA vote has worked so far. I mean, we're still using it tonight. And I just think paper ballots is a bit too extra in my opinion. So yeah.
We seem to be pretty split on this actually, which is kind of fun. Does anyone have any other opinions or thoughts on this question? Celine likes Opa vote. Olivia, go for it.
As the tech nerd, I'm always going to be pro technology over anything else. So, open vote.
I am actually a Luddite. I'm generally anti-technology. However, nonetheless, I'm more anti-change than I am anti-technology, and because change has a tendency to like make it less accessible to people, so I think do what we've been doing in the past and stick with the technological solution.
I will say personally, I think paper ballots are fun. I think there's a lot more opportunity. It's a lot harder to like confirm eligibility of people voting as opposed to Opa vote. Opa vote does track like emails, so like we can tell, you know, this person is an eligible voting member, this person is not, this person should get a ballot, this person shouldn't get a ballot. So that's, I would say, the +1 to Opa vote. Okay, so I guess Caleb, we have our answer. I think it sounds like more people want Opa vote. We will need to figure out, you know, obviously sign in and tracking all of that.
Thank you. I think, yeah, we'll want to have something like a sign-in QR code or something like that.
Cool. Any other questions or thoughts on California 12, the event? One thing I will mention, I've said this before, but I'll say it again for everyone here. I will not be there. I'm out of town, so I really wish I could be there, but I'm not going to be there. So I think we appointed Erica as our point person, and she will be assisted and supported by Megan. but I imagine a number of folks here on tonight's call will be at the event, so there will not be lacking in support and help. Anything else we should discuss? Gordon,
Hi, I'm just curious about so the debate I think went off really well, but I was curious on why it took so long for that video to be uploaded.
Ruben, it must be killing you right now knowing that you could speak on this topic for 15 minutes, but you're in the airport. Basically we had we had some technical difficulties with the recording clips. It's nobody's fault. It's just with tech there come issues. And so we've been back and forth with Shania, who graciously volunteered to record our event that evening. But she was out of town for a little while, and then other folks were out of town for a little while, and there were issues with uploading, and the files got whatever all jumbled up. So it is up. I would like to thank Ruben for a lot of time and effort into piecing all of those clips together. It is now on our YouTube and socials. There, full disclosure, we are missing like a few clips, but like the vast majority of the event is there. But it's good learning experience for next time we have a similar event. So, but we do apologize for the delay. I know it's been a couple of weeks.
Could I suggest that we live stream these events from now on so we don't run into these issues again?
Vegan. Vegan, did you have your hand up?
You can disregard. I don't want to prolong the meeting.
Okay. Orica.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out. Sorry, Erica has something to say.
I don't think it's that we didn't want to live stream the meeting. We just did not ourselves, like nobody on our e-board at the time has the equipment to live stream properly with proper sound as well. So this was like our first time doing something like this too. But that's something that we can keep in mind moving forward, maybe even like invest in that as a chapter. But yeah, just wanted to say, Ruben, you did a really fantastic job with gathering the materials, and thank you for persisting through that because I know it was really frustrating. So yeah, that's all. And we need to workshop that name. I'm sorry.
We're not feeling the Orica. Is that Arivia?
Change it back because I don't like that.
No, anyway, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, sorry, Gordon. We would love to be able to live stream in the future. It was just this was our first live event in a while. We also had, for full disclosure, candidates asking us last minute, like really close to the event for different things, and so like between all that, it was just a little more chaotic than we wanted. But yeah, in an ideal world, we'll look into that in the future, and hopefully we can bring that live to ya. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, can I just make a quick announcement, or are we at that part of the agenda yet?
Of course, yeah, go for it. I think so.
Okay, sorry, I was dying at these names in the chat. If folks are interested, for those of you that don't know, the Berkeley Unified School District has a reparations task force, and they are having a community engagement meeting on the 13th. And I just wanted to invite folks, if you're in Berkeley or you just are curious, you want to know more, this is information about the event. There was one on the 7th where the California Reparations Task Force chair came and spoke, but this one is just for the Berkeley Unified School District. So if you have questions, you can ask me about it. I'm on the task force and I co-chair.
Perfect. Thanks, Adina. Hello, Kelly. I see you. Thank you for being here at the meeting. So I think that would qualify you to get an endorsement ballot, since you did show up technically. So I will go ahead and add you to that. And again, did everybody who was supposed to get a ballot get a ballot?
I got a ballot.
No, you said you did or you did?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I just want to ask about this thing. So are only people who responded to the questionnaire eligible for endorsement? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so that is something that we updated our bylaws this summer for, is we added a provision where you must submit a candidate questionnaire response in order to be eligible for endorsement. Which is why you'll see on the ballot, not all of the statewide and federal races that we reached out to candidates for are on the endorsement ballot, and not all of the candidates for a race might be on that ballot, because that indicates that they did not submit a candidate response by the deadline. Any other questions? Otherwise, I feel like I'm done asking for any other questions. And then we can maybe close the meeting.
I do have an announcement. I do want to remind everyone that our next PPAC/general meeting / LY Dem, like Latina Young Dem meeting will be October 9th, 2023. So do let us know what you want to be on the agenda.
Celine, can you say that again? Sorry, I just like tuned out for a second.
Oh, no worries. I just want to remind everyone that our next meeting for PPAC general membership and Latina Young Dem will be October 9th, 2023.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any announcements? Going once, going twice. Cool. I'm gonna stop the recording